Guys, welcome back to movie night. All right, this is going to be awesome. 3 classic movies, guys, that you need to watch. Or if you've seen them before, get back on it, lads, because you got to watch these bad boys. 1 dramatic and 2 comedy we're going with tonight. Now, we've taken a little bit of a break here from the IMDb Top 250. That's right. Every single movie, well, most movies I've reviewed in the last year, I can't believe it's been that, has been from the IMDb Top 250, which is awesome. And we've still got loads to go, but we're taking a bit of a break. We're bringing in 2 comedies that you need to see, lads. And grab a beer, grab a glass of wine, whatever you're drinking, grab whatever. Keep you glued for the next few hours or whatever, because we're diving into one of the most intense, disturbing, but brilliant performances by Brie Larson, but also strangely hopeful. It's an incredibly hopeful movie you'll ever watch. Room. This is the first one we're starting off with today, lads. Now, when I say room, I'm not talking about your bedroom, your office, or your Netflix binge cave. I'm talking about a 4-walled nightmare. It's a prison disguised as a home. Very, very intense movie. Here's the scary part. It's based on the kind of on things that actually happen in real life. You know, not some overblown Hollywood fantasy here. This stuff happens, but the kind of evil that headlines real world news stories and could keep you awake at night. This isn't horror with jump scares, lads. It's horror with heartbeats. And, you know, it's tension you can feel when you watch it. You're not just watching a movie. You're living inside that space, feeling every second tick by. Peter. Wow. Now, the conflict in Room, it's not just physical. It's psychological. It's in the mother and her son, trapped for years, okay? Years in a tiny space by a man who's just completely stolen their freedom. And, you know, on paper, it's a claustrophobic survival story, but in reality, it's about 2 people holding onto their humanity when the world outside has completely forgotten them. I mean, that's the scary part. And here's the thing. You can't escape the tension, lads. Every smile the mother forces, every question the boy asks, you know, every creak in the floor above, it's all loaded like with just this intense dread, you know. There's no big army coming to save them, no superhero bursting through the door here. It's just them together against the absolute impossible. Now, the film is based on the novel by Emma Donoghue, right? Who was inspired by real life cases of long-term captivity. I mean, she nailed it, lads. And that's what makes this so chilling. You're not just watching fiction, you're watching an echo of reality. Brie Larson, who plays the mother, doesn't just act in this film, lads. She becomes the role. She's raw, stripped down, exhausted in a way you can feel through the screen. And Jacob Tremblay as the boy, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This kid isn't acting. He's living inside this nightmare with a kind of innocence that will just tear you apart. And Brie Larson, she won the Best Actor Oscar that year for Best Actress. It was phenomenal. You know, the magic and the horror of Room is how it builds. It starts with routine, right? You see the little games they play, the made up stories to pass the time. It's heartbreaking to watch this. The rituals that keep them sane, you know, when people just shouldn't have this. And slowly you realize these routines, they're not normal, they're survival. And the outside world exists only in stories. And when a plan to escape begins to form, the stakes shoot through the roof. You're not watching an action scene. You're watching people gambling, with everything on the line. And freedom, safety, a life. Every moment feels dangerous because you're just like, oh God, they're going to get caught. They're going to get caught. Like it's trembling. Even hope feels dangerous a bit here. This as an audience member, you know, you're torn between wanting them to run and fearing what's on the other side of the door. When the turning point hits, lads, it ain't Hollywood fireworks. It's primal desperation. Like, this is the moment that tests everything they've been holding on to. Their courage, the trust in each other, and the fragile thread of hope that's been keeping them alive. You know, you can hear your own pulse during these scenes, really, honestly. And the air feels heavy when the door finally opens. It's not a rush of freedom. It's a flood of shock, confusion, fear, because leaving the room is only the start, really, of their battle. Because the real scary thing, lads, this is based on psychology. When people get into patterns, habits, that it's hard to break a habit, a pattern, a ritual, even if it's bad for us. This is based on true psychology. It's hard to break it because it's what we're used to. So imagine these people stuck in a room for years, and then you're escaped, you're out. Now, of course, you know, you want to be out, but this is one hell of an adjustment. And what makes Room unforgettable, it's not just the escape, you know, it's the aftermath. It's the truth that the world outside isn't always kinder than the prison you left, believe it or not, you know. And trauma just doesn't disappear when the walls do, but the film leaves you with something rare: resilience. The bond between mother and son just becomes the anchor, lads, and it's wonderful. Even after all the pain, all the fear, all the nights spent in darkness, there's this love, there's still life, you know. And that's why this movie hits so hard. It's not just about captivity, it's about the strength to keep going when the world gives you every reason to quit. And that's why Room isn't just a film you watch, it's a film you feel, you know. And if you've ever doubted the power of human connection or the ability of a story to completely take you over, maybe Room will just change that. And when the credits roll, you kind of sit there in silence, because some movies don't just end, they stay with you. And, you know, guys, if you're into psychology and you know what I'm talking about, that patterns are hard to break, right? You watch this, you'll understand, because we can all feel like we're in a room, trapped to some degree, right? Maybe with this horrible job you have, a horrible relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend. We can all be sort of feel that trap, and we can't just seem to break out of it. Maybe this will make you think. Oh, lads, I couldn't wait to start talking about this movie. This is just one of the greatest comedies of all time. And yeah, it's not in the IMDb top 250, okay? I know we're doing a lot of those reviews, but I just had to include this, you know, and I even watched it again the other night just to talk about it, and hopefully it's a good recommendation. Or if you've seen it before, get it out, lads. And if you're drinking, keep drinking, get the beer, get the wine, get the popcorn, because, lads, this isn't just a movie. Like, this is a lifestyle. This is turning 30 but still acting like you're 21, distilled in 2 hours of just carnage. Total carnage, like. And it's delivered by some of the biggest comedy heavyweights of all time. No doubt about it. Vince Vaughn at his fast talking, Will Ferrell at his most unhinged. You've got Luke Wilson as the guy who has no idea how he got here. And then Jeremy Piven as the smug little a-hole you just love to hate. You know, if you've never seen it, let me just say it. Old School is a masterclass. It's what happens if men in their 30s ignore all adult responsibilities and start a college fraternity. I mean, what the hell? It's absurdish. It's absurd. It's childish. It's completely unrealistic, and that's exactly why it's perfect. This isn't just a movie to watch. It's a goddamn movie to live by. Now, the premise is simple and brilliant. 3 guys, all going through different levels of midlife crisis, okay, decide to relieve their college glory days by starting the fraternity. And despite the fact they're way too old to be doing this stuff, right? College parties, like. The conflict, it's layered. On the surface, it's them versus the university administration, and led by Dean Gordon Pritchard, Jeremy Piven, in peak smarmy little man with power mode. Underneath is about adulthood versus nostalgia, responsibility versus recklessness, and in true comedy form, it's also man versus his own ability to grow up. And Vince Vaughn's character, he's trying to run a business, raise a family, still throw ragers with college kids. Will Ferrell's Frank the Tank, oh, Don't even get me started on Frank the Tank Man. Ricard, he can't be trusted around alcohol without ending in streaking down the main street. And that's an awesome scene, by the way. And Luke Wilson's Mitch, well, he's just trying to figure out how he went from breakups and bad luck to being the center of the frat house madness. I mean, it's chaos. It's glorious. Now, directed by Todd Phillips. Yes, the same Todd Phillips who went out to direct The Hangover and The Joker. Two weird movies to be comparing against, but Old School came out in 2003, lads, and it basically redefined what the early 2000s comedy would be. It really did. I think it was the benchmark. It was the turning point for how comedies were going to go, right? I mean, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And here's a fun bit of trivia for you. The movie was originally rated NC-17 for language and nudity until they cut it down to an R, which makes you wonder what was left on the cutting room floor. And Will Ferrell was already a big name from Saturday Night Live. All right, we all know him. Genius comedian. But this movie, I think it cemented him as the go-to guy for unfiltered unpredictability comedy, you know. And Vince Vaughn, he's my favorite comedian of all these guys. Brought that quick sarcastic delivery, you know, he's famous for. And like Luke Wilson, he's not as, I suppose, popular as the rest, but, you know, played the straight man. I can barely talk. Played the straight man perfectly, you know, grounding the movie, I think, and he was the kind of the rock, which I think it was good for the chaos around it, grounding the movie just enough so, like, it didn't float off into complete lunacy. And Jeremy Piven, you gotta admit, he is one major a-hole in this movie, but this might be probably one of the most perfectly hateable roles. You know, you don't just dislike the guy, you enjoy disliking the guy. And then you've got, you know, the supporting cast. Sean William Scott, Stifler, he shows up for a brilliant cameo. Absolutely brilliant. And then a pre-Hangover Todd Phillips cameo. Did you spot him in this movie? Well, okay. And enough random chaos to fill a dozen frat houses, lads. Now, in the movie, once the frat is formed, all right, it's just one ridiculous challenge after another. They've got to get recruits. They have to survive insane parties. They have to pass physicals, academic and mental challenges to stay recognized as the fraternity. Now, and of course, they have to do it all the while Dean is actually trying to shut them down. Now, this is where the comedy kind of hits full throttle, really, right? Vince Vaughn on a blowout torch microphone hyping the crowd. You got Will Ferrell yelling, "We're going streaking." Classic. Like it's a presidential campaign slogan, right? Luke Wilson getting dragged along for every bad idea. And I'm trying not to show too much footage, lads, you know? It's not that there's any cliffhangers or things to give away, but I don't know, I still don't want to give away too much, you know? I just keep it for yourselves. And every obstacle becomes a set piece. There's the gymnastics challenge, the debate challenge, the hilarious trust exercise, and of course, the epic party montages that make you want to call your friends and say, "Lads, we're getting some booze tonight, lads. Let's do this." And the thing is, like, you don't just laugh. You wish you were there. Like, you genuinely do. I mean, it's so outrageous. Like, you can't help but to think, God, I'd love to join that frat. And then you got the big showdown. And the frat's fate hanging in the balance, right? They're just on tender hooks here, guys. And the dean thinks he's finally got them. And there's no way the guys can pass. I mean, you are set up for doom in this, right? And they somehow do in the most ridiculous and unexpected ways possible. You know, you've got Vince Vaughn nailing a perfect gymnastics vault. You've got Will Ferrell lighting himself on fire. That's an awesome scene, by the way. During a stunt, but still making it count. You've got every misfit member stepping up when it matters. And it's pure underdog energy. And mixed with the kind of comedy timing that makes every payoff land twice as hard. And it's not just about beating the dean. It's about proving that maybe, just maybe, refusing to grow up, it's not always a bad thing. Now, when the dust settles, the frat lives on. The guys, they keep their chaotic, semi-functioning version of the dream alive. And, you know, as the audience, we're kind of left with that, right? That life doesn't have to be so serious. Sure, you need to pay your bills and take care of stuff like that, yeah. But there's no rule that says you have to give up fun, friendship, and doing the occasionally stupid thing that just because you're older. And that's why old school still works today. It really does. It's not just a time capsule of early 2000 comedy. It's a reminder that a little bit of college energy can keep us all young, no matter what your birth certificate says. You know, if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. If you've seen it before, watch it again. And the next time you hear somebody say Frank the Tank, just know, man, it could go down in a horrendous but great way. All right, lads, welcome back to movie night, and here we go. Movie number 3. Oh, we're talking about one of the most funniest, most rewatchable, most endlessly quotable comedies of the 2000s, Wedding Crashers. And if you haven't seen it, first of all, what rock have you been living under? Second, this isn't just a comedy. It's a cultural event. I mean, it's Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson probably at their peak. The peak of their comedy power. I mean, tearing through wedding season like it's a competitive sport, leaving a trail of champagne glasses, confused bridesmaids, and destroyed buffet tables behind them. I mean, and here's why this movie, I think it's kind of genius. It's not just about two guys chasing women. It's about friendship, love, chaos, awkward family dinners. And that magical time in cinema when you could get away with an R-rated comedy that was both filthy and heartwarming. And this is the kind of movie that even if you've seen it a dozen times, you throw it on again because you know it's going to make you laugh in the same spots. And probably in a new few ones you could have forgotten. Now, the setup it's quite simple and kind of dumb. You got Jeremy, Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn. And they're two divorce mediators who spend their free time crashing weddings. Now, why? Because weddings are the ultimate party. People are happy, the drinks are flowing, the food is free, and as they put it, it's like fishing with dynamite. Right? The conflict starts like when they crash the wedding of the year. This is where the whole setup, I think, really is. It tees up the whole movie. And the daughter of the U.S. Treasury Secretary, played by Christopher Walken, I mean, it's brilliant in this. You know, I don't know if you call him peak, but only he can pull this off, like Christopher Walken. And this is where everything starts to spiral. John falls for Claire, Rachel McAdams, the bride's sister. Jeremy gets stuck in the world's most hilariously intense fling with Gloria. I'm gonna find you. If you know what I'm on about, oh dear Lord. Claire's unhinged younger sister who believes in love at first sight. And second and third and fourth, throw in an overprotective, possibly psychotic brother, a strange grandmother with zero filter, and the looming presence of the perfect but horrible, I mean, horrendous Bradley Cooper. Like, this guy is one major a-hole of a character. And I think some of us know these type of guys. And, oh, God. I mean, throw all these characters in, and you've got a recipe for absolute mayhem. So, Wedding Crashers, it dropped in 2005. Directed by David Dobkin. And it was part of that, I mean, it really was. We were talking about old school a while ago there. It was part of the golden era of R-rated comedies that didn't just push the line, they danced over it with the champagne glass in each hand. And here's some trivia for you. The movie was a monster hit. Monster hit. I think if anybody was around for the, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It made nearly 300 million worldwide on a budget of 40. And it wasn't just because of the cast. It was because it hit that sweet spot between raunchy and romantic. And it appealed to both guys and girls who wanted the wild party scenes and the girls who wanted the love story too. And Vince Vaughn's fast-talking, rapid-fire improv is absolute genius in this movie. I mean, he opened up here, man. It's on full display here. You know, you can tell some of his lines were never in the script. Owen Wilson plays the perfect balance of smooth operator and a vulnerable romantic. And Rachel McAdams coming right on off the Notebook adds genuine heart to the chaos. And we can't forget Will Ferrell's cameo. Oh, jeez, lads. I mean, Ma! Meatloaf! Insane. The self-proclaimed inventor of wedding crashing, and which might be one of the most funniest single scenes in comedy history. This is where then the movie, it kind of goes from funny concept to just total carnage, lads. You know, John and Jeremy managed to talk their way into the family's post-wedding weekend getaway, and at their massive waterfront estate mansion, and this is where the game really begins. Jeremy, like, desperately trying to escape Gloria's clingy yet aggressively romantic grip. John playing the long game with Claire, all while navigating her psychotic fiance Bradley Cooper, a guy so cartoonishly weird and evil that you can't wait for him to get taken down. You just can't wait, like. And then the dinner scene where everyone quirks gets turned up to 11, like the football game, pure testosterone fueled comedy gold, ending exactly how you'd expect. And the midnight sneak scenes where both guys are dodging family members like it's Mission Impossible. I'm trying not to give away the footage here on this one, lads. Not giving away things of the plot, but just keep it on the down low here for this one. And just when you think it's all fun and games, the cracks start showing, feelings get real, loyalties get tested, and you realize these two guys might actually be in over their heads completely. Now, like all great comedies, the big blow is inevitable. Oh, absolutely. The truth comes out. John and Jeremy aren't really old family friends. They're wedding crashers. Cue the betrayal, the awkward stares, and the fallout, lads. Jeremy somehow manages to stay engaged to Gloria, mostly out of fear, while John gets iced out of Claire, who feels completely betrayed. And to just twist the knife, Sack is right there to swoop back in and play the safe choice. And then, you know, we get the Will Ferrell cameo. Chaz, living in his mom's house, now crashing funerals because it's the next logical step. I mean, it's bizarre. It's wrong. It's hilarious, and it's exactly the spark John needs to get his act together, right? So you can, in a weird way, you can see why he comes from a certain point to a certain point, and then the big finale. You know, this isn't giving anyone. John crashes Claire's wedding to Sack. Okay, and this time for real, no lies, delivers a heartfelt speech. And meanwhile, Jeremy finally admits he loves Gloria, and also probably fears what would happen if he actually did break up with her. And before we pack it up, you know, there is actually, like, because you know the way sometimes a comedy can have a heartbreaking scene that it just moves you, you know, and there is one scene that Owen Wilson kind of really showed a lot of depth, I think, where he's at a funeral and he's watching, I think it's like a mother or a grandmother or an elderly woman crying, right? And you can just see the depth of Owen Wilson in this one single clip. Now, call me crazy, I don't know, but it's just, I don't know, there's something about Owen Wilson. And he's great, man. He's great. I mean, the ending is perfect. John and Claire are together. Jeremy and Gloria are together. And the two guys are back in their tuxes, ready for whatever insanity comes next, lads. And, you know, that's why I think Wedding Crashers work so well. It's not just about the laughs. And believe me, it's great, lads. And it's about the chemistry between the two lads. You know, it's the banter. It's the you know, the way that they rile each other up, and everyone's got a rubber arm. You know, like 1 minute they're not going, and then all it takes is one of the lads to look at the other one and go, all right, we're done. Come on, let's do this. You know, pure banter. These two could read a grocery list together, I'd say, and make it funny. And the movie, it gives you the party scenes, the ridiculous one-liners, the crazy side characters, but it also gives you enough romance and heart to make you care how it ends. And it's a film you can throw you can throw it with your lads, with your girls, with dates, or even with family, you know? Seriously. And, okay, maybe not grandma, really, maybe not. And you know, and 18 years later, it still holds up because it's great, it's fun, it's quotable, and it makes you wish you had the nerve and the wardrobe to pull off Wedding Crashing yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got to watch Wedding Crashers.
Peter.
Wow.